First one, in quite a few of XTC's songs, like Generals and Majors, Living Through Another Cuba, Sergeant Rock, and the title of their new album, English Settlement, they have a kind of military theme. Is this just a coincidence, or is there something about the subject that interests Andy?
For me, yeah, I'd say that our only two military songs were really Generals and Majors and Sergeant Rock vaguely, just because of the word sergeant in it. But I do actually like things military. I hate the idea of killing people, and I hate the idea of war, but I quite like the idea of things like uniforms and stuff like this, and just as a fascination, you know.
You were concerned, I'm sure you don't mind us talking about this on air, because when you came in you were talking about Steve Strange, and you were concerned about the new Visage single, The Damned Don't Cry.
Well, it's just the presentation of it, which I thought was rather flirting with fascism, which I think is... It sounds okay in principle. I mean, flirting with anything sounds okay in principle. When you actually start doing it, it's... I just find it rather offensive that people do flirt with fascism as a kind of a... It's still got this shock value, and it's still got this so-called memorable value.
What is the fascist element that bothers you?
Well, the obvious thing in the past, I mean, how awful the fascists have been in the past. If only Hitler had swayed towards being a nice man instead of towards being an evil man, how wonderful a place Germany would have been.
No, I mean the Visage.
Oh, I see. Well, it's just this flirtation with evil.
But you see, I didn't see it when you mentioned it, when The Damned Don't Cry.
Oh, he stood on the sleeve in this quasi-Nazi uniform, looking very upright and very Aryan. Mm. And lots of girls in leather and like park military, sort of an upright kind of an outfit, and sort of stockings and cabaret outfits. It seems an unhealthy fascination with Germany in the 30s to me, and this the whole idea about the damned race heading into the ultimate evil, which is I don't know, very dangerous to kind of flirt with, because it's the sort of climate that could breed it again, and I think it's something must be very aware of.
I think you're right, and but I was certainly not aware of it, and I'd be surprised if it was anything more than a fashion thing.
Like you said earlier on, you mentioned that a lot of people were kind of flirting with this name thing, like New Order and Joy Division and things like that.
Certain ratio.
Yeah. You're right, certain ratio. They all have these Nazi connotations, which I don't know whether the bands what their political beliefs are, and I hope they aren't of that sort of persuasion. But I just think it's kind of childish to go for this sort of shock value, or like shocking memory value, if you see what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't considered it. Okay, changing the subject to another question: was there any delay in recording or releasing the new album because your fan club secretary said that the album was going to be released towards the end of Christmas, and obviously she's referring to English Settlement.
Well, that was the record company intention originally. We had made the album in October of last year, and then I think the record company thought, well, if we put it out straight away, it'll get swallowed up with the Christmas mass, because Christmas is like a tidal wave. Everything happens at Christmas. It all goes crash and rolls over. Everyone buys at Christmas. Everyone spends and consumes. It's very easy to get lost in the tide. So we waited for Christmas to sort of run back down the beach again, and then we sort of run in and said, "Hello, here we are," and hopefully it's not made us more important, but made us more visible, if you see what I mean.
I see what you mean. Finally, is there an address? Deborah is concerned about. She sent envelopes off to addresses, and she hasn't had a reply. Is there a place where people who are interested in the band can write and get information?
Yes, I think the safest place to write to right now is our manager's address. So grab your stone tablets and chisels out there in Neolithic land, and the address to write to would be XTC, care of Mr. Ian Reid, and you can spell it. You can spell Reid any way you want to, but he does get upset if you don't spell it right. But I'll give you the license to spell it any way you want to. Mr. Ian Reid, 65 Priory Green, as in Monks Priory, Priory Green, Highworth, near Swindon, Wiltshire. I'll say that again. Mr. Ian Reid, 65 Priory Green, Highworth near Swindon in Wiltshire, and I'm sure they'll get to us. They usually do.
Okay. Andy Partridge, my guest on tonight's show. We'll be back with more questions after Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, second of three of the best, and anything that's rock and roll. The Heartbreakers, second of three of the best, and that's anything that's rock and roll. More letters and questions for Andy Partridge. This one is from Rachel Harns of Mill Street, Eynsham, Oxfordshire. No, it can't be. It must be. It wouldn't be in Oxfordshire. We were talking about letter writers. What would you say that? What does that look like?
He's handing it over to me, and it's from Rachel Harns of Eynsham. In fact, it is Eynsham or Eynsham. I give up, actually. Well, it's from Rachel Harns.
You were saying
wherever she's from.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A lot of people think, can this man learn anything at school? Doesn't he know how to read? Anyway, she asks about the track from the Black Sea album, as does David Boothman of Carlisle. Now, I can read David's writing, okay. He's concerned about the track Travels in Nihilon. That's it.
A lot of people say it travels in nylon. It's not about transvestism or anything like that, but it's travels in Nihilon.
And let's see. Let's go back to Rachel, first of all, who wants to know what the noise is at the end. What exactly is the noise at the end of Travels in Nihilon? It sounds like someone pouring their coffee down a long drain or other fluids to that effect.
Oh, look, I'm going to give away a stage secret now. I mean, this is like asking Coco the Clan how he did his makeup.
I don't want to hear. I don't think we want to know, do we?
It's... a lot of people said it's like somebody going to a little room in the house and losing a little liquid weight, but it's not, in fact, anything to do with that. It's something to do with a shower curtain, although we tried to get it to sound like rain. So we wanted some rain at the end of the track, and we never had any of those nice BBC sound effects tapes that they do. And so our producer, Steve Lillywhite, at the time said, look, there's a shower upstairs in the studio. I'll go and turn the shower on, and we'll take a microphone up there and record it. But it came out as a really weird sound. It sounds like a cross between bacon sizzling, somebody taking a shower, somebody going to the WC, and rain. So it could be any one of those things. I think I should leave it wide open and lie about it in future and say it's to do with bacon or something.
A blank sound effect. Okay, I mean, your own interpretation into that. David Boothman also wants me to say hello to his girlfriend, Wendy, and wanted to hear Making Plans for Nigel. We actually played that quite recently, but we will have other XTC music on the show. Moving on to Adrian Benelli of Beverly Drive, Edgware in Middlesex, who so considerately typed his card. Ask Andy if he's making another solo album in the same vein as Take Away.
Not a total album, no. I'm occasionally dabbling with like dub experiments, but I think to some extent you can in dub you can only take away as much as there is to take away. I mean, the ultimate dub record is like 2 or 3 minutes of silence. So listen out on November the 11th, won't you? You can only take away a certain amount of things, and you have to stop somewhere, or else it becomes farcical and you're taking the mick out yourself. So I don't think I should be doing a whole album, although there are a few experiments that already have been recorded that might get released at some time or another.
Adrian,
so look out for them.
Okay, Adrian also wants to know if you're doing anything music-wise with Ryuichi Sakamoto.
Oh, right. He was the character we mentioned earlier on, the gent with the slant eyes and the yellowy skin, who plays for Yellow Magic Orchestra, who I think are great, by the way. Thanks for the card, kid. Okay, lovely. Ryuichi is actually doing something now with a Japanese... Everybody's heard her, so she sounds like a Japanese Kate Bush, but she's a very big star in Japan called Akiko Yano. And if you hear her, she sounds pretty good. So if you hear that name, Akiko Yano, check out her records. I think she's ace, actually, but he's doing something with her right now. But I don't think he's doing an album. But if he's doing another album, Ryuichi, if you're tuned in on your crystal set in Tokyo, yes, we'll get together and split a bottle of sake sometime.
Great drink, isn't it? Rachel has sent a self-addressed envelope here with a stamp on it, and she would like some autographs from you, so I'll pass that over to you as well. One more letter before the next bit. This is from Charlene Kales of Brunswick Street here in good old London, who wants to know, simple question is, how XTC were formed.